Hello and welcome to Russell's Movie Reviews, the show where I pick stuff off from my collection, or sometimes you guys pick it, and most of the time it's really good, or maybe, one of the best movies of all time. Um, but sometimes you get some movies that are just straight up garbage and no one should ever see and should remain in the depths of hell. And today we are going to be doing the Rambo franchise. As you guys can probably tell by my shirt, even though it's Rocky, we are finally doing the Rambo franchise. And, it's pretty simple, just 5 films. But it, I think this series of films is one of the only series of films that I could think of that is consistently good. Like, yeah, like maybe some films are worse than others, but they're not. Any of them are not bad. I think the worst that any of these movies are gonna get are probably okay. Um, but um, but yeah, this first film that we're gonna be talking about is First Blood, released in on October 22nd of 1982. Um, with a budget of $15 million, domestically it made 47 million. And worldwide it made over 125 million, and directed by Ted Kotcheff. Um, so the plot for this movie is that a Vietnam veteran and drifter John J. Rambo, played by Sylvester Stallone, wanders into a small Washington town in search for an old friend, but is met with uh with the with the brutal local sheriff, played by Will Teasel, played by Brian Dennehy, who we did unfortunately lose this year or last year. It was either last year or this year. When Teasel and his deputies retain and shave Rambo, he flashes back to his time as a prisoner of war and unleashes his fury against the officers. He narrowly escapes the manhunt, but it will take his former commander, Sam Troutman, played by Richard Crenner, to save the hunters from the hunted. Now, this film is an other classic from the 80s. Um, this was released in the year of films, the year 1982, when we had, successes like, when we had films like Blade Runner, Rocky 3, Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, um, a whole bunch of other movies, but mainly E.T. E.T. swept the box office and kind of made some other films not do as well as they should have done, like Blade Runner, for example. Blade Runner did horribly at the box office, but, you know, as time goes on now, and, still up to today, it's considered to be one of the best sci fi films ever made, and, one of the possibly one of the best movies of all time. Um, but you know, Rambo, um, First Blood did pretty good at the box office, which made the studio realize that, hey, maybe Rambo is a good idea for potential, and then so they went on to make Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, Rambo, or John Rambo, and Rambo Last Blood. So in total, 4 sequels over the span of about 30 years. Um, but First Blood was the main the main movie, and I love this movie so much that I have 3 separate editions of it. So I have the main one being the 4K release that I got during Black Friday, along with you know uh all the other 3 movies on 4K, which I actually got this one at a later day after Black Friday ended, which I don't think I actually went into that, but I got Rambo First Blood Part 2 at a later on after Black Friday, which is why it has a little bit of damage at the back. Um, you can see like there's a little hole in there, and then this tag is ripped off. But Rambo 3 and John Rambo are fine. Um, but so I have the 4K release. I have the uh the Walmart exclusive VHS cover, which underneath is the standard I believe 2015 yeah 2015 Blu-ray release with a pretty spiffy cover art. And I did actually get like five other films along with First Blood because they were just like really cheap. So this was actually the first version that I had of First Blood. And then on Black Friday, not only I did get, I don't know, that Black Friday I got at Target for only $10 this amazing Steelbook release that has the classic cover art with it's nice and smooth. It has the title and then like the bullets and like the lights in the background are reflective. But inside it's the like the it's like the early Blu-ray release, which I think is the same for this one as well. Yes, this one has the exact same disc. Um, so yeah. Um, I decided to not get the Blu-ray releases of the other films because I'm like, well, I already have the 4K, so what's the point? Uh, but with this 4K release, it actually yeah, there's the 4K disc and there's the Blu-ray disc. I don't know if this is actually. I don't want to drop it. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if this is actually a different Blu-ray release compared to the previous two I just showed you. But I know the 4K disc is certainly new. Um, and then I got Rambo Last Blood on surprisingly Christmas of I believe 2019. I believe. Oh yeah, because that was the last Christmas I had in the old house. Um, but let me get this set back up. Um, but yeah, I love this movie because I'm actually rewatched all of the movies. Uh, for the series of reviews, which is actually good. My second time, I'm gonna be watching Rambo Last Blood because I actually only saw Rambo Last Blood recently, and that film was dark. But I'll get to that when I review Rambo Last Blood. Um, but this is a classic um kind of one man versus everyone plot. And I love it. So let's talk about the cast. So we have, of course, Sylvester Stallone as John Rambo. He, just comes in to get some food. He's like, he doesn't know where he's at. He's just trying to get to Portland. He just wants, a snack, and then he'll be on his way. And then, um, the sheriff just starts pushing him a bit, and then and then it kind of just what sparks the whole movie off. We have Richard Crenna as Sam Troutman, who would go on to star in both Rambo Part 2 and 3, but unfortunately did pass away in about, I think, 2003. And so I think he gets like a passing mention in Rambo 4. Um, which is actually going to be my first time. I did watch a few minutes of Rambo a few years ago when when I had the DVD box set of the first four, and I never because I stopped at three. I stopped at watching the whole movie at three, and I saw a little bit of 4, and then I kind of just turned it off. Um, and I never really watched the whole thing, but I do plan on watching it. Um, um, but the first 3 are still really good action flicks from the 80s. Um, but anyways, Richard Crenna as Sam Troutman. Like I said earlier, he would star in both Rambo 2 and 3, and will go on in 1989 to play the Doctor in Leviathan, which I believe recently the Shout Factory release of the Blu-ray recently just went out of print, so that's gonna suck for me when I'm gonna be hunting down that Blu-ray, because I actually do want to watch that, um, and do a review on it, but I want to get the Blu-ray first, and now it's gonna be really hard to try and find it, unless some Blu-ray company's actually gonna re-release it. I'm not sure. Um, but anyways, Colonel Troutman is basically he shows up, I think, about in the halfway point, and he's basically saying, "Hey, I'm just gonna say it right now, you guys are screwed. Don't don't try and mess with Rambo, because if you do, he's basically gonna kill all of you." Um, and of course they don't listen to him, and they keep on trying to go after him. And I mean, yeah, granted, he doesn't kill anyone per se, but he does cause a lot of structural damage to the town. So it's like he's like, I warned you, but you didn't listen, and now your whole town's gonna crumble. Um, we have Brian Dennehy as Sheriff Teasel, which, like I said earlier, we did lose a year, I think either last year or this year. Um, he is basically the villain, but not. I mean, I don't know, cause I mean, yeah, I guess he's technically the villain. He, I mean, yeah, he's not gonna. Like, at the beginning, he even says, like, I'm not trying to, like, when Rainbow escapes, he says he's not trying to kill him. He's just trying to stop him. But obviously when one of the deputies gets killed off by Rambo, which is the only death in the whole movie, which I will get to later. Um, that's what kind of ticks him off a bit. And he's like, "We're gonna kill him. We need to hunt him down and kill him." Letting his personal pride get in the way, and uh, kind of interfering with his judgment. We have Jack Starrett as Deputy Sergeant Galt. Yeah, I guess Galt. Yeah. Um, who, I'm just gonna say it now, spoilers, is the only death in the whole movie. Yeah, he injures a lot of people, but he doesn't kill anyone except for Gold, which is actually one of my favorite scenes, and I'll talk about more about that scene later. But yeah, like, I'm just gonna say right now, most likely everyone's gonna agree with me on this who have seen the movie. Gold is a bit of a dick. He, you know, I mean, yeah, like if like a random stranger walks into your, police station, and starts being, a little bit uncooperative, yeah, you might get a little pissed. But from, from what we've seen, Rambo is basically a stranger. He doesn't know what's going on, and then kind of being forced to do stuff is kind of, especially with him being a Vietnam vet, like all of it starts kind of like flushing back into his brain, and it kind of, he ticks, uh, which is actually my favorite scene. One of my favorite scenes is when I'll actually talk about that later, more in depth. But like um, when they go to shave him, after they go through basically all of this torture, they they get like a razor, like a straight razor, and try to shave him a bit, and like that's like like that's like the final straw for him because he starts getting flashbacks or when he's tied up in Vietnam and he gets his chest like right like actually I think it's this way and it goes like the knife just goes like all the way down here and then he flips like he can't take it anymore and he's just like beating the crap out of them and um like for like for a person who's watching this like once again you're just like yeah just go kick their asses but then the first time watching you're most likely just gonna be like whoa that's that's a little bit mean and then when Rambo starts trying to starts like he breaks that's when you go just like yeah just get him. We have David Corso as Deputy Mitch, who I believe is the only one out of the whole police station that actually shows a little bit of like it doesn't like go up to Rambo and say like oh my god I'm sorry, but he's like after Rambo takes his shirt off and you see like all the scars that he has. It's like Jesus Christ, like you want to go a little easy on him, and then Gold like whacks him on the back and he's like what the hell was that for? And he goes you better shut up or else you're gonna be like that in the same position. And he just kicks him and goes get the hose ready. And he's like wow Gold's a dick, and Mitch is like kind of like the only one that's trying to stand up for him, and that's just a little bit like I at least have a little bit of sympathy for him, but unfortunately, actually, I'll talk about that later. We have Chris Mulkey. I'm really sorry if I butchered that last name as Deputy Ward. Um, I don't think he really did like because like technically like you don't really remember all the police people's names except for like Teasel and Gold. Really, all of them just kind of start mixing together for me. Except for obviously, except for Mitch. Um, and so like, I don't know who. I don't really remember who Deputy Ward or Balford look like. I'm like, whatever, just the other sheriffs. But I actually have a fun fact about Deputy Lester, who I think I believe that's the one that has like the tape around his nose. Later on in the movie, played by Al Humphreys. I'm no, I butchered that. So might as well. I technically did have two fun facts, but now I guess I have three. So fun fact number one is that did you know that when Rambo escapes from the police station, when he kicks over Lester and like elbows him in the face, in the shot that's used in the movie, when Stone like that, he actually connected his elbow with his nose, and he did actually break it. So the tape that you see on his nose, and like the redness that's on his nose is like actually real, like no like makeup done or anything. That's actually like a real broken nose that Stallone accidentally did. And the screams that you hear in the movie are genuine pain after Stallone basically just broke his nose. Um. Uh. So favorite scenes. I guess scene number one is when. Uh. I guess I technically already mentioned it. Is when Rambo escapes from the police station, and then Teasel chases him down to like the creek, or like to the forest. That's like I think that's like my first favorite scene. My second favorite scene will have to be like I kind of said earlier, Galt's death. Which is like I said earlier, the only death in the whole movie. Um, and you know, I believe some of the screams that are used in this movie were actually used for the Golden Axe games. Uh, Galt's scream right before he hits the rocks, that was used in Golden Axe, and I believe I don't know which I forgot which cop it was, but the one that gets his legs kind of impaled on the spikes that shoot out from the side. His scream, I believe, is the other one that was used in the Golden Axe games. Which I'm like, okay, that's a little odd. You pick a scream from a movie, you go with First Blood. Like, I mean, not trying to diss the like Sony the movie because, I mean, that's pretty cool. Um, uh, I guess my third favorite scene would be the chase when after Rambo escapes from the mine, which is a significant time jump from my second favorite scene to my third favorite scene. But when Rambo hijacks the military truck and then starts chasing down, and he just rams through. Actually, it's on the back right here. When he rams through the barricaded cop cars, which is that picture right there. That um that scene is so like tense, and then the music when Rambo hits that cop car and just goes flying, and then hits the ground and it goes driving. That's like perfect. Perfect, like that's like the perfect trailer music for this movie. Um, and then my fourth favorite scene is probably just the whole like final act of the movie. That it's at night, it's in the town, and then so Rambo first comes in, hits the petrol station or the gas station, knocks the little things over, so petrol's going everywhere. Lights it, sets the gas station on fire, which somehow the explosion from the gas station leads to the car dealership that's kind of near it, and then all of a sudden the car started exploding. I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's still awesome, but um, and then kind of just Rambo going around the town, first cutting off the lights, and then going to the gun store, setting that on fire and blowing that up, to finally getting to the police station to see Teasel on the roof, and then getting inside, having basically a little standoff with Teasel, and then having Teasel get shot and crash down through the glass. And then the final scene, which is basically the confrontation between John Rambo and Colonel Troutman, is probably my all-time favorite scene in the movie. Because just Rambo basically just has a meltdown, going from anger just to crying and reaping about like all the stuff that he could have done, and then all of a sudden he just comes back, and that's basically gone for him now, and it's actually kind of sad. And then and then he gets taken in, and that's where the movie ends. So yeah, so might as well mention the two fun facts I have written down on my page of notes right here. Is I guess fun fact number two is, did you know that the original version of the movie was apparently so bad that Stallone wanted to buy it so that he could destroy it? So yeah, apparently the original cut of First Blood was over 3 hours long, and Stallone commented on, I believe, a making of at some point uh, uh, that it made him sick, and that he want obviously, and then like I said, he wanted to buy the movie so he could torch it, and so that because he was afraid that this film will destroy his career, and so they made drastic cuts to the movie, which eventually made it go down to, I believe, go from an estimated around 3 hours to around 96 minutes, which is actually, I believe, I think it's right here. Yeah. Well, let me pop this out because it's more easier to see. So yeah, the movie is 96 minutes. Here, let me try and. Yeah, it's. Yeah, there. It's 96 minutes. So just imagine how long this movie would be if this film was 3 hours long. Cause, damn, like that would be a very boring movie. Um, Thankfully the cuts were made so that it would basically run at a very kind of brisk pace. There are moments where it kind of slows down so that the people can breathe, maybe go and get some food or something. Kind of like the more slow scenes, like when Rambo's going for the cave and stuff. That's like kind of like the moment, like the scenes that calm down in, and then immediately after that it goes right back into the action for the final act. And then my final fun fact is, did you know that in the scene when Rambo jumps from the mountain to the tree, Stallone broke many ribs and bones in the shot that's eventually used in the movie? So yeah, Stallone did most of his stunts in the movie, including that shot when he jumps from. Well, I don't think he actually jumped from the mountain to the tree, but the final kind of him going through the tree, like off the branches and stuff, he did do. And apparently, in the shots that were used in the movie, he broke several ribs and bones, which actually I'm gonna try and look up what exactly did he break. So I'll be right back. Alright, guys, so I'm back. So I just looked it up, and apparently it was just like a whole bunch of ribs that he did breaks. But it basically is true that the screams that you're hearing in the movie when he lands is genuine screams of pain. From Sylvester Stallone, who did break a whole bunch of ribs in the final shot of him doing the final third of the fall from basically just from like in the tree. Um, and yeah. Really quickly, I do want to talk about the composer, who is the fantastic Jerry Goldsmith, who would go on to do Rambo 2 and 3. I'm not sure if he actually did. Uh, well, I mean, I think he did pass away right before. Yeah, he probably didn't do any of these. Um, so yeah, for Rambo, it was Brian Tyler, and then for Last Blood, it is. Brian Taylor again. Um, I mean, yeah, that would kind of make sense. Um, but yeah, so the soundtracks for all three movies I think are very great, but I think the best one, in my opinion, is First Blood score, because it's very kind of somber, and then when it needs to kick into the action moments, it really, really works. Um, I mean, yeah, like the Rambo 2 and 3 scores aren't bad. I just don't think they compare up to um, the First Blood score, but I do think there are very enjoyable scores to listen to, um, and they do go along perfectly with the movies that you know, the company, the films that they are in. Um, so yeah, I think that this is a in my personal opinion, it's the best out of all of the Rambo movies. I think most people would agree. Um, but that's just my opinion, and probably most other people's opinions as well. But I think this movie, encapsulates everything. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have everything that Rambo would come to be known as, like for the bow and like for the RPGs and that sort of stuff. I mean, yeah, this film did invent Rambo itself, but he also did invent him. Like, you just need to have a picture of him with a big gun shooting things, and that's Rambo for you. This film does that, and I think it does it very well. Um, if you guys can find it very cheaply, maybe like Blu-ray, it would work, but maybe if you could also try and find the 4K at a reasonable price, it would be very good because the 4K looks stunning. I think it's actually one of the best 4Ks of an old movie of older movies I've seen. go along with first Superman the movie and the Cars of Toy Story 2. I think this is one of the better 4K releases. Um, but the bow and yeah, the knife is in this movie. Um, but the bow wouldn't be a thing until Rambo First Blood Part 2. But this covers mostly everything that Rambo is mostly known for. It's just that the sequels kind of intensify that to a point where it's just, you know, a, you know, 80s action movies, but that doesn't mean that those movies are bad. I just think that this film is personally the better film out of all of the other ones. But yes, that's just my opinion. But yeah, guys. So that was my actually, I'm gonna give this film an 8 out of 10. This is a very solid action flick that I feel like everyone should watch at some point in their lives. Um, and so yeah. Um, so yeah, guys. That was my review of First Blood, released in 1982. Stay tuned for tomorrow, where I'm gonna be talking about Rambo First Blood Part 2, released in 1985 and directed by George P. Cosmatos. Um, so anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for tomorrow, where I'm going to be discussing Rambo First Blood Part 2, where most of the actiony kind of stuff that was kind of toned down for the first film is significantly brought up for Rambo First Blood Part 2. So stay tuned for tomorrow's video, guys, and have a great day. Live long and prosper. Out.